seriously, how do we ever get to believe that? The story is manufactured, and then we follow. And humans, because we're gullible, we cheer up and we say, yeah, we're on the right side. They are the bad guys.
Okay, so let me have a go at this idea. So the idea is that really money is driving a lot of the conflict we're seeing, and it's really going to be driving the dystopia. So here's an idea. So I was reading something the other day, and it talked about how billionaires are never satisfied, because actually what a billionaire wants isn't actually more money, it is more status.
Correct.
And I was looking at the sort of evolutionary case for this argument. And if you go back a couple of thousand years, money didn't exist. You were as wealthy as what you could carry. So even, I think, to the human mind, the idea of wealth and money isn't a thing. But what has always mattered from a survival of the fittest, from a reproductive standpoint, what's always had reproductive value, if you go back thousands of years, the person who was able to mate the most was the person with the most status. So it makes the case, the reason why billionaires get all of this money, but then they go on podcasts and they want to start their own podcast and they want to buy newspapers, is actually because at the very core of human beings is a desire to increase their status.
Yeah.
And so if we think of, going back to the example of why wars are breaking out, maybe it's not money. Maybe actually it's status. And it's this prime minister or this leader or this individual wanting to create more power and more status, because really at the heart of what matters to a human being is having more power and more status. And money as a thing is actually just a proxy of my status.
And what kind of world is that?
I mean, it's a fucked up one. All these powerful men have
correct
are really messing the world up. But
so can I?
Actually, AI is the same, because we're in this AI race now, where a lot of tech billionaires
100%.
are like, if I get AGI, artificial general intelligence first, then I basically rule the world.
100%. That's exactly the concept. What I used to call the first inevitable, now I call the first dilemma in Scary Smart, is that it's a race that constantly accelerates.
You think the next 12 years are going to be AI dystopia, where things aren't going to go
I think the next 12 years are going to be human dystopia using AI.
And
human-induced dystopia using AI.
And you define that by a rise in warfare around the world as people.
So the last one, the RIPs, the last one is basically you're going to have a massive concentration of power and a massive distribution of power. Okay, and that basically will mean that those with the maximum concentration of power are going to try to oppress those with democracy of power. Okay, so think about it this way. In today's world, unlike the past, the Houthis with a drone. The Houthis are the Yemeni tribes basically resisting US power and Israeli power in the Red Sea. Okay, they use a drone that is $3,000 worth to attack a warship from the US or an airplane from the US and so on that's worth hundreds of millions. Okay, that kind of democracy of power makes those in power worry a lot about where the next threat is coming from. Okay, and this happens not only in war, but also in economics. Okay, also in innovation, also in technology, and so on and so forth. Right, and so basically what that means is that, like you rightly said, as the tech oligarchs are attempting to get to AGI, they want to make sure that as soon as they get to AGI, that nobody else has AGI. And basically, they want to make sure that nobody else has the ability to shake their position of privilege, if you want. Okay, and so you're going to see a world where, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of control, a lot of surveillance, a lot of forced compliance, if you want, or you lose your privilege to be in the world. And it is happening already.
With this acronym, I want to make sure we get through the whole acronym. So
you like dystopians, don't you?
Well, I want to do the dystopian thing, then I want to do the utopia.
Okay.
And ideally, how we move from dystopia to utopia. So the F in face RIP
is the loss of freedom as a result of that power dichotomy. Right, so you have a massive amount of power, as you can see today in one specific army being powered by the US funds and a lot of money, right? Fighting against peasants, really, that have no weapons almost at all.
Mhm.
Okay, some of them are militarized, but the majority of the 2 million people are not. Okay, and so there is massive, massive power that basically says, you know what, I'm going to oppress as far as I go. Okay, and I'm going to do whatever I want because the cheerleaders are going to be quiet, right? Or they're going to cheer, or even worse. Huh? And so basically, in that, what happens is maximum power threatened by a democracy of power leads to a loss of freedom. A loss of freedom for everyone. Okay,
Because how does that impact my freedom?
your freedom.
Yeah.
Very soon, you will. If you publish this episode, you're going to start to get questions around: should you be talking about those topics in your podcast? Okay, if I have been on this episode, then probably next time I land in the U.S., someone will question me, say, "Why do you say those things? Which side are you on?" Right? And you can easily see that everything. I mean, I told you that before. It doesn't matter what I try to contribute to the world. My bank will cancel my bank account every 6 weeks, simply because of my ethnicity and my origin. Right? Every now and then they'll just stop my bank account and say, "We need a document." My other colleagues of a different color or a different ethnicity don't get asked for another document. Right? But that's because I come from an ethnicity that is positioned in the world for the last 30, 40 years as the enemy. Okay?